All right. What's up, everybody? Chris Gault here, Healthy Living with Chris Gault. And today we're going to talk about why do we just not all get along, and we're going to talk about it right now. And make sure you watch the full video so you can get the full benefit of what we're going to talk about today. So, because it all kind of ties together, so you need to see the whole video, and that way you'll know what I'm talking about. And I just want to mention that these are just my thoughts on the matter. You know, not any science from a social scientist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a sociologist. I'm not an economist, and I'm not an anthropologist. So this is just my opinions and what I see what's going on out there. And I just wanted to communicate that to you all. And I just want to say we are not getting along in the United States of America, and I'm sure we're not the only ones in the world who are having this problem. I'm sure this is worldwide. But that's why I decided to do this video, because I'm going to try, how do we get to the point where we can all treat each other with respect and get along? Because that's something that we should all strive for. We're a better world, we're a better country, we're better off if we all get along as opposed to fighting each other all the time. So the first thing that I looked at, I was like, why do people not get along? What are the main reasons? And I came up with 3 main reasons why I believe people don't get along, and maybe some ways what we can do in order to get past them. So I'm going to talk about the 3 right now, and then I'm going to go into detail on each one. So the first one I feel is that and I know this is going to sound, this is like the elephant in the room, but we feel more comfortable with people who think and look like us. And I know it's a tough thing to say, but I see it all the time. It does happen. The next one is we look for a side, especially in competition. You know, my team is better than your team. You know, my team is against your team. We're always looking for a side to be on. And then the last one, number 3, is the belief that there are limited resources in the world and there's just not enough for everybody. So those are the 3 main reasons I believe that people don't get along. And I'm going to talk about the first one. So the first one was, remember, we feel more comfortable with people who look like us. So let's just get right into it. And even though this is a tough subject, let's talk about race. And we all know it's out there. And so to me, it's just amazing that we haven't gotten past this yet. I mean, we are in 2020 now, and we still have race issues, and we still treat people differently based on the color of their skin. And you know, we could all say that we don't, but we know that that happens. And it's not just this country that it happens. I look at it this way. If we actually look at the similarities, and basically, like, if you look at the inside of the person, because you think a person's really what's on their inside, the color of the brain and the color of the heart and the color of the blood is all the same, if you think about it. So in fact, there's so many more similarities that we key on the similarities that we have with someone that's different than us, we're better off. Because, I mean, think about it. We look just like someone, except their skin is a little different color. Why do we look at that one difference and we say, oh, that's going to separate us? It's crazy. We don't separate people from any other reason. If someone has blonde hair versus brunette hair, we don't say, oh, well, we're going to treat the brunette differently than the blonde haired person. I mean, typically we don't. And so, but why do we do it with the color of the skin? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think if we can strive to look at the similarities between people that we have, regardless of the color of their skin, I think then we are much better off. And I think the other thing is to have empathy towards those who may not have had it as easy as we have had, or some of us have had, like I know I've had. As a white male, I've had it easier than some people have had it in this country, and how they're treated by others. And so if we have empathy towards them, like if you can put yourself into their shoes for that one moment and see what they go through, then maybe you feel a little empathy towards that person, you're going to be nicer to that person. So just want to throw that out. I think if we could do that, we can become closer. And if someone says, you know, Black Lives Matter, don't go out and say all lives matter. They're not saying that all lives don't matter. They're not saying only black lives matter. They're not saying that. They're just saying black lives matter and black lives do matter, and we have to get on board with that because they haven't mattered as much as other races in the past. And we can all say what we want to say, but that's the way I see it, at least. The next thing that we look at in the same category of we feel comfortable with people who look and think like us is that divides us is country. And don't get me wrong, I love my country and I think it's great to love your country, and I mean I definitely love mine, but that shouldn't stop you from loving and visiting other countries and seeing what they're all about. I love to travel. I travel a lot, and I love to see different customs, foods, and people from all around the world. And what I notice in that is that they all have great things, they have different things, but the people are basically all the same. And I'm not talking about the governments, I'm talking about the average person who lives there. They're basically the same. They want the same things that just about everybody wants. They want to have a good life for themselves and for their families. They want to be able to have enough food, enough shelter, and enough interesting things to do in life so that they have a full, fulfilled life. That's all they want. And so we're really not that much different. If you travel, and if you don't travel, I would suggest travel around the world a little bit, and you'll see that people around the world are not that much different than we are. So just wanted to throw that out. And again, every country has something to bring to the world, so we should accept the success of all of them and learn from them, unless there's like some sort of security issue, like there's a national security issue. You obviously aren't going to back that. I don't condone any kind of violence in any way or any kind of terrorist attack. Those are not the kind of people that we want around. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the average basic person like you and me who live in another country and they're just trying to have the best possible life that they can have. That's all. The next thing that kind of separates us is language. And a lot of times we tend to think that someone is an idiot, I hate to say that word, if they don't speak our language or speak it poorly. Like it might be broken English, or in the United States we might hear broken English, in other countries you might hear other things. It's interesting that we think they're idiots, even though that's a second or third language to them, and yet we can't speak their language, and we only speak one language, let's say. But we're holding it against them, thinking they're an idiot because they can't speak ours. And even when we travel, when we go to another country, sometimes we think, oh, you can't speak my language? Well, we're not even in your country. We're in a different country now, so they shouldn't have to speak our language. So language definitely has divided people, and I think that as much as we can, we need to give that other person who's speaking in a broken language, because it's not their first language, the benefit of the doubt, and just know that they're doing something that a lot of us can't do. So it doesn't make them an idiot, and we shouldn't look down on them. The next one is mannerisms, and I would say personality type, because there's all different types of people. And when I say that, I mean like there's calm people, there's hyper people, there's laid back people, there's stern people, there's positive, there's negative, there's introverts, extroverts. There's all different types of people, and we need to understand that everyone is different, and we need to embrace those differences instead of dividing over it. That's what makes us unique. If we were all the same, it would be very boring, right? So just realize that you can look at how people are and just understand what they're like, and that they're different than you. So if you're an extrovert, you like to go out, you like to party a lot, but let's say you have a friend who's introverted, doesn't like to go out a lot, don't bother them for that, because that's just the way they are, and that's the way they want to be. We all are different, and we all have to live the best possible lives that we can. So that's another one. And the last one in this section is gender. So why do we treat men and women different in terms of equality? We've been doing it for years, and I know it's gotten a lot better, but it's still there a little bit. And I think it's fine that guys will go out with guy friends, and I do that, and women will go out with women friends, and that obviously that's fine. But both genders, or however you see yourself, I'm not judging, should be respected. Everybody should be respected, no matter what. And so we shouldn't fight over gender. And again, put yourself into into their shoes, and you'll say, you know, well, how would I like it if I was, let's say if I'm a man now, and let's say somehow I became a woman back in the 50s, how would I like it if I was treated the way women were treated as a second-class citizen? I wouldn't like that. So just put yourself into their shoes, and you'll see that you'll have empathy towards them, and you'll see that's not right, and that everyone should be treated equally. So that's all concludes that first bullet point that I was talking about, which is we feel more comfortable with people who look and think like us. So I just wanted to throw that one out. So the second one, if you remember, it was we look for a side, you know, especially in competitions, a competition, like my team against your team. So we see that in sports, obviously. We see that in business. We see it in politics, obviously, in this country a lot. In the United States, we see that. We see it in religion. You know, my religion is the true religion. It's cute that you have this other religion that's not real, but my religion is the real one. We see a lot of that. We see it in schools. My school is better than your school. And I think it's okay if we do some of this, especially on the sports side, lightheartedly, if we're, you know, joke around about that. Like, I went to the University of Maryland. I'm a Maryland Terrapin. I root for my, you know, for the sports teams there. And I think that's okay. It's good, clean fun. But when it gets past that, then it's not good. So any kind of bullying or this win at all causes, or you're bad because you're a Yankee fan and I'm a Boston fan, and that just has to go away. I mean, I've been to some of those games where Yankees play Boston in both Yankee Stadium and Boston Stadium, and it gets pretty ugly at those games. It's amazing how people just scream and shout at each other and things that they shouldn't be screaming and shouting at. It's just a game. It's just a game. And yeah, we can be diehard fans, but again, it's just a game. And that should not be what divides us. And it does. And the religion, the politics thing has really gotten out of control. And we need to be able to accept other people's beliefs in both politically and religious-wise, and just understand that we can believe what we want to believe, but we need to have other people believe what they want to believe. And that's the way it should be. Because again, put yourself in their shoes. How would you like if they told you that you had to believe a certain way? You wouldn't like it. So that's how they're feeling. They're just coming from a different side. So we need to accept other people's beliefs. And okay, and the last one was number 3, bullet point, was the belief that there are limited resources. So what comes down to that, the things that I kind of looked at was, I have to have it so you can't have it, right? In order for me to win, you have to lose. You know, I'm going to hoard all this toilet paper during this pandemic, and I'm going to have toilet paper for months, but that means that you're going to go without it, any of it. So you got to figure it out, but you know, I'm set for the next 3 months. You know, that's happened here. And so the more that we can get in the mindset that there are enough resources for everyone, and have empathy for the person on the other side who doesn't have the resources, the better off. So it's like, instead of hoarding something, just realize, hey, I'm going to get what I'm going to need, and I can come back next week and get more, and I'm going to allow someone else to get that other one. That's okay, you know, because that's the way you would want it to be for you. You wouldn't want someone to go and hoard all the stuff and then not let you have any of it. So just put yourself into the shoes of the other person and think about how they feel. Then you're going to have empathy towards them, and you're going to get past that, and it will start to bring people together. And that's what we need to do. We're all just people just trying to have a great life, and we need to move in that direction. So that really is what my points were, my ideas, my thoughts. So I'm really curious about what your thoughts are on why we don't get along, and maybe what we can do to improve that situation. And if you can share those into the comments below. That would be great. I would love to see those. And please, I'm just going to say, it's Ozzy from Ozzyland, if you've ever seen her channel. She always says at the end of her channel, one of the things she says is, be nice to each other out there, okay? Basically, you need to treat others the way you would like them to treat you. So let's work together, and let's stop the hate, and let's promote love as best we can every day. So if you like this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. That helps the video get spread out into YouTube world. and others can see it and benefit from it. And I'm hoping that this video catches on more than any other one, because I really do think that we need people to start pulling together and accepting other people's lives. So make sure you do that. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell notification. That way you'll be notified every time I put out a healthy living video. And currently I put out 2 a week. I put them out every Thursday and every Sunday. So watch out for those. And also, if you know anybody who can use healthy living videos, make sure you share this video and the channel with them so they can join in all the fun. And for more tips on how to live a happier, healthier life, 2 videos are going to pop up right now, and you can click on one of those and you can continue your happy, healthy living journey. And I will see you all soon.